Hi everyone, my name is Hayden Alexander Butcher. Welcome back to Hang and Vibe. It's summer and this is the first week of summer, so the first episode of the summer season. I haven't posted a video in quite a while. I got way behind on my spring season and I'm not sure how I'm gonna get all of those videos out there because I haven't even recorded all of them. I have recorded week 7 and I'll probably work on that this week and get that uploaded at some point. But the rest of the spring I'm not really sure about. I'm not sure if I want to take the time to finish up the spring even though it's now summer and I kind of want to just focus on the summer. So what my plan is for the summer is I am going to pull back slightly on Hang and Vibe. I'm gonna record Hang and Vibe once a month instead of every week. So this is gonna be my June episode, and next month I'll record an episode, and then I'll record one in August, September. And that's partially because the Hang and Vibe episodes take me so long to edit, and so it's just hard to do one every week. But also because I am running out of artists to talk about. I still have music to talk about because I have some to talk about this week, but I probably won't be able to have a lot of music to talk about every week. So I think it's good to spread it out a little bit more. But what I will continue to do every week is try to put out episodes recapping the sermons from that week. So I'm actually going to split the podcast into 2 separate podcasts. There's going to be Hang and Vibe, which I'm just going to talk about music and about life in general. And then the other podcast I'm calling Sonar, and that's going to be where I talk about the sermons and other devotional topics and just other things that are happening in my devotional life and in the church life. So yeah, I'm going to be doing 2 podcasts now, and one of them will be weekly, and then Hang and Vibe will be monthly. Moving on with this week's episode of Hang and Vibe. To give a little bit of a life update, as you can see, I'm back in my old house. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you would recognize my old house, but back in the spring, I had moved into my grandma's house, and I was there for a little while, but then I basically got kicked out and by my uncle and had to move back to my old house. So that's where I am. I've got some paintings put up. For my birthday, Haley took me thrift store shopping, and I bought these actually. I bought these 2 paintings, but she bought this shirt for me. So it's a nice Hawaiian shirt, nice summer fashion here. But yeah, so I'm here at my house. Haley is living with her friends, so I'm on my own. That's why I'm recording at my house, because it's a lot easier for me to record when nobody's around, which is why previously I had been recording all of my podcasts in my car. But now that I'm living on my own, I can start recording at home. So I'll probably have a lot more video component in the podcast. You can see that I have a pale ale with some lime. Enjoying my summer beverage here. As far as other updates, my family is planning another vacation in September. We will be going back to Universal Studios for Halloween Horror Nights, and then we're also going to be going on a cruise. We're going to be going on the Carnival Mardi Gras, which is a ship that we have sailed on before and really enjoyed it. So we're excited to be going back on that ship. We're gonna be sailing to Grand Turk, Amber Cove, and Celebration Key. And then after the cruise, we will return to Orlando and spend a couple more days at Universal. And then we're gonna spend 2 days at Epic Universe, which is really exciting because Epic Universe just opened this year, last month. So it has not been open for a month yet. Tomorrow it will have been open for a full month. And so it is brand new, and we have been watching YouTube videos, getting excited, making plans, making lists of the food we want to try, the rides we want to go on, everything we want to see. So we're really excited to be going to Epic Universe this year, and I'll definitely be bringing my camera along with me and taking videos of everything while we're there. So I'll try to incorporate that into the podcast somehow. As far as Halloween Horror Nights, there have been a couple of announcements so far. They gradually announce the houses throughout the summer, which I kept up with through the podcast last year. So this year they've announced 3 houses officially. The first one they announced was Fallout, which is a video game and also a TV show that's based on the video game. There's Friday the 13th, which I just watched yesterday with my sister. I had never seen it before, but we watched it together yesterday. And then they also announced one of the original houses. They have 2 different sets of houses. They have IPs, which are intellectual property. They're based on movies and shows and video games and stuff. Then there are original houses, which are houses that the whole idea Universal themselves came up with. So Fallout and Friday the 13th are IPs. And the first original that they announced is, I guess it's called El Artista. So El Artista, a Spanish haunting. It takes place in 19th century Spain. A tortured artist moves into an isolated country manor for inspiration, but the art comes alive and possesses him. So yeah, that's what's going on with Halloween Horror Nights, and they will continue to roll out announcements throughout the summer, and we will keep doing our movie nights and in preparation for Halloween Horror Nights. So yeah, I guess that's all I have for just life updates. So now I'll get into the music. As always, I'm going to start the season off by highlighting Chillhop Essentials, because on June 12th they released their Summer 2025 Chillhop Essentials album. And the first track that I want to spotlight is called Jake by Dennis IVNVC. I don't know how to pronounce that. And also featuring the artist Danny Catala. So this track has some funky bass and a cool beat and some nice funky guitar. And overall, it's just a very funky track. And I've decided to use this as the intro track for the podcast. And I think it's a good choice because it's probably my favorite track on the album. Next track is called Sturgeon Bay by Ian Ewing and Strello. Classic combo. Ian Ewing and Strello make some amazing music together. So this one is no exception. Has an awesome bass line, and which Ian Ewing is just known for. I feel like he always has awesome bass in his music. And a pretty guitar loop. which I feel like is Strello's kind of thing. When I think of Strello's music, I always think of pretty guitar. So I think it's just when you put Ian Ewing and Strello together, you get great music. Blue Sky Bounce by Enlove, Felty, and Azula. I don't have a whole lot to say about this track. I just think it has a nice chord progression. Green Cap by Loye has some nice guitar and a kind of bossa nova-ish beat. And there's some pretty piano in the second half. Last track is Move Slow by J-Folk. This one has a cool, kind of deep sounding beat. Some nice electric keys. And then a nice simple synth melody comes in that sounds pretty cool. So I've been waiting to talk about this album since last year. Magic City Hippies released a new album in January that they had been teasing throughout 2024 and released a few tracks that I did spotlight in last year's summer season. So I'm not going to repeat those tracks because I already spotlighted them, but I would definitely recommend checking out this album as a whole because it has a lot of awesome tracks on it. But the new ones that I did not spotlight last year, first track is Heavy Motion, which features Kainalu. This one has some nice groovy synth, a beautiful vocal melody. There's a nice guitar solo towards the middle of the track. The beat picks up with a part with some nice slight distortion in the vocals. And then there's a nice change in chord progression towards the end with a nice synth solo. The title track, Enemies, has some pretty guitar in the verses.
Fire on the West Coast. Make a list of your enemies.
And a beautiful chorus.
There's a lot of ways to lose. It's the lottery with you.
And then this one has an awesome, just heavy bass in the outro, which I feel like they do that a lot. They just really go ham in the outro and the bass gets distorted and it just sounds really awesome. And that's how they end this track. Little Bit of Love featuring Antoine Stanley. This one's a groovy, summery track. I think the track overall is okay. I didn't get very into it the first time I listened to it, and I almost skipped it, but I listened until the end, and if you listen until the end, it kind of switches up. It switches up in the outro, and you get this awesome funky beat. Actually a similar beat to Jake, the first track I spotlighted, which I use as my intro to this podcast, because it's kind of got that bump, 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 you know, that like pounding kind of beat. And then the track after that is called Lonely Bottle Interlude, which is actually just a continuation of that outro, but a little bit more mellow sounding. The vocals are kind of pitched up, so they're a little bit more high pitched, and it's just, you know, a nice funky beat, nice funky keys, and I love it. Next, I want to talk about a new release by Pink Skies. He released an album called Feels So on March 14th, Pi Day. I don't know if this is a full album or if he's just releasing tracks leading up to a full release, but I think this might be the full release. But I picked 3 tracks from this album. The first one is called Let's Do It Again. Very funky, nice funky dance vibes. And I love the descending synth line in this track. It just has a very fun sound to it. The track Whoa is pretty cool. It's got a nice rock sound to it. And there's a cool part towards the end where the tempo just abruptly slows down. It has kind of a cool sound to it where it just tempo slows down and sounds cool. And then the last track is All of the Colors. This one has a nice beachy kind of sound. Pretty vocal melody in the verses. And then an awesome chorus with some nice synth. In May, on May 23rd, Pink Skies released a single called Forever, and I also like this track. It has a nice chord progression and just some beautiful chill wave vibes. A couple tracks from the Weeknd's new release. He released on January 31st, Hurry Up Tomorrow. And I picked a couple tracks from this album. First one I picked is Baptized in Fear. This one just has a slow and ominous kind of sound to it. It gets closer now. Figure in the corner laughing at me. Water fill my lungs, vision. But it really has some intriguing lyrics. It seems to be about like having a near-death experience and just feeling like guilt for how you have lived your life and stuff, and One of the lines in particular that really caught my attention is towards the end when he's singing the line, "Like Paul, I'm the chief of sinners."
Like Paul, I'm the chief of sin, washing my soul within.
And it's like, wow, he pulled straight from the Bible for this track, and it's like, cool. The next track I picked is "I Can't Wait to Get There," and this one has just some happy vibes to it. I feel like he doesn't do a lot of happy music. I feel like a lot of his music is very emotional, catchy, and danceable, but more, you know, emotional and stuff. But this one just straight up feels happy to me. Has some beautiful synth and just some lovely vocal harmonies in this one as well. Now, speaking of dark, emotional music, the next track I picked is by Das Cope. He released a new track called "Melting Away" on May 7th. And this one just has a very dark, very dangerous vibe, I feel like, in the chorus. And I like the part before the bridge where you just hear the distorted bass kicks kind of like softly in the background. Sounds pretty cool. And then I didn't talk about this artist last year, but Panda Bear released a new album called Sinister Grift on February 28th. And I did pick a song from that album to spotlight, the song "Fairy Lady." This one just has some lovely summery guitar chords. And there's some nice trumpet in one part as well. So I did mean to spotlight this artist last year, but I guess I don't really have a lot of songs by them or him that I like. But one track I'll throw out there is the song "Token" from January 14th, 2019. This track has a very ethereal sound, almost magical in a way. Just the sound of it is very, you know, fantasy, like very magical sounding. And I love the echoing effect of the vocals in this track. It's just really captivating.
Tough won't crumble. A slap on a jelly ass.
And lastly, this is not a new track. This is an old track. I mean, it's from 2017, so if you can call 2017 old. But it's a track that came out years ago that I just discovered this year. And it's called "Awake and Pretty Much Sober" by Violent and Monica Martin. I have not checked out more music by this artist, but I do plan to, because this song I've just been obsessed with since I discovered it. It has a quiet verse section, then just a beautiful chorus with an emotional melody and powerful vocals.
My body came to you, my heart's so fully through. I'm so awake.
I keep listening to this track over and over again because it's so awesome. And then it also has a cool bridge with some cinematic sounding piano and strings. Yeah, I'm gonna check out more by this artist. This is from the album, well, the album is called "Awake and Pretty Much Sober," but it's got 10 songs on it, and I haven't listened to any other songs, so I'm definitely going to check those out because if they're anything like this opening track, I'm sure they are amazing.
So bring the storm untamed. I want to feel the rain. So bring me joy and pain.
So that's all I have for this week. As always, check out the description for the Spotify playlist of all the tracks that I spotlighted in this episode. And stay tuned for more Hangin' Vibe next month. Probably, I think, towards the middle of the month. I'll have to look at my schedule, but this week I should also be putting out an episode of Sonar to recap the sermons from this week, and more Sonar will be coming in the coming weeks. I'm gonna try to stay up on uploading. I just had to take kind of a break because of moving out, moving back in, unpacking everything and trying to put everything where it belongs. Plus my internet went out for a while, and I had a roommate. He's coming back this weekend, but then leaving on Monday. He's been on the road. But yeah, just all of this stuff, it's been busy. I've had a busy spring, and now that it's summer, I feel like the busyness is starting to slow down, so I can start focusing on the podcast again. So that's my hope and that's my goal. So yeah, just stay tuned for more of the podcast. And I hope the microphone picked up my audio well enough. I usually hold it while I'm recording these, but I just thought it'd be more casual to have it clipped to my Hawaiian shirt, which I found out they're actually called aloha shirts, but they're colloquially known as Hawaiian shirts. But anyways, yeah, so I'll end the podcast now and see you guys later.